going on. Hello there.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Live long and prosper. Live long.
Live long and
Andy, do
prosper.
this.
So, I'm Simon,
Okay. And I am Tristan.
And I'm Chileong.
and we have
And
a
we have our
guest
guest
here,
today.
Andy. And
Hi.
he's not much of a guest, but we ask more about him later. And also, Star Trek Discovery Season 4 is out tomorrow. Was it Season 3?
Oh.
Season 3 is out tomorrow.
Is that Buzz Corner already? Are
No,
we doing Buzz Corner first? Okay.
no, it's not relevant.
Just a public
So-
service announcement. Wear your
Yeah.
mask, stay indoors, and watch Star Trek
Yes.
Season 4.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, I forget one more thing actually. Let me do that. So quite a few things happening interestingly. So one of the big one is that I actually updated my Wi-Fi card. Whether things will work or not is another story.
Yes.
So interestingly,
We won't have the, what do you call this? An anteater? No, the logo. What is that logo again? Our logo?
It's
Tapir?
a
The armadillo? No. Tapir,
No,
yes.
it's
Tapir, isn't it?
tapir.
We
Yeah.
won't
Yes.
have a tapir as
Shame on you,
swimming
Tristan.
space anymore. No, I'm just
Yes.
kidding.
so more interestingly, I show you how my Wi-Fi work. It might not show here simply because social media thing, but ta-da! I get this fast.
It's quick.
So this is alpha. But I worry about the internet downstairs. So that being said, let's move on. Let's move on before I show you this thing. Let's start out with our meetups. So on Saturday, that's yesterday. On Saturday and Sunday, we actually had a dialogue on internet.
This is by IO Foundation.
Yep, John's project.
Yeah.
It's online. Go to the Eventbrite, get the ticket, and you get the detail to join in.
Yep.
And then we move on to 15. Okay, 20. Then this happening on Saturday and Sunday. Then we fast forward to Wednesday. The software architecture Malaysia Meetup happening on Wednesday. This again online. Detail will be there. Watch the calendar. And yeah.
This is also online, right?
Actually, we have to do it online because until from 14 to 27th, we are officially on a new movement control order.
Mhm.
So we're quarantining ourselves for another 14 days for reasons, and the number actually get worse. So we won't have any physical meetup. And for goodness sake, please don't have any physical meetup. So take care of yourself and stay at home and join the conference now. So anything that I missed?
Sounds good. No, it's another slow week. I think last week was more interesting, but now it's
Yes.
like in the middle of the month and not a lot of things are happening. Well, there have been a lot of things happening last week. Ministry of Testing was happening last week. All of these things, not
Yeah,
next
we
week,
actually have-
unfortunately.
We had quite a few interesting stuff. So that's it. Let's go to our bus corner. So the first one is this is actually on a reverse order. I take the latest news first, then to the earlier news. So the first one is Docker announced open source Compose for Amazon ECS and SCI. So yeah, so this is actually the Compose command to be used for the cloud-based equivalent. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is cool to many of us, maybe me, I'm not using this as much, is that the same command that we use to actually spawn Docker is now usable for all your cloud service, so you don't have to change too many things to make it work on AWS or Azure container service. So what do you guys think?
Is this like another one of those DevOps things that you need to learn in order to?
Do you use Compose in your project now?
By Compose, this is Docker Compose?
Yeah. Because
Yes.
currently,
Well, not for deployment. So most of the deployment happens as Kubernetes, but
yeah.
for local development, then it's easier to just do compose. Like you can just do Docker compose up, and then all
So
of your services are up at the same
it may
time.
not be this may not be the most appropriate way for you to deploy with the Kubernetes and all that, but this will be a more familiar way, which to me is actually very interesting. So shall I move on?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so this one is actually from Firdaus, end-to-end data science. So this is actually building a whole set of software. You actually do your ETL, data transformation, do your visualization, deploy and consume, as in, I believe, as API or dashboard, I do not know.
So this aligns to the recent trend of no code.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
it?
this is more of a consolidation of your data process because in the data, often when you want to build your data infrastructure, you actually have to do your analysis, but you have to do your data preparation, getting your data, do your joins or whatever that you need, then do your visualization, then you need to deploy it as a dashboard or as an API to use, right? So the thing is, each of these are currently, or maybe slightly before, because there's solution now. You actually have to. It's three different project, three different type of thing, and have to done by three different teams, right? So
Mhm.
this actually, the idea here, I believe, is to have consolidate everything. You said the team, but it's more well integrated. So what do you guys think on this? If not, I move on. Oh, so this is actually an alternative for it. So what is called is a pipeline. So this is what they mean by pipeline. So the next one is Microsoft is giving a lot of goodies on their Microsoft Edge. So
The free video call is actually Skype for those that are
right.
curious.
Actually, this is interesting for me because who remember the antitrust case by Microsoft?
Which one again? There's a lot of.
So there's a browser, right? So
Yep.
interestingly, they're
The
doing
European
this.
one that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
monopoly of internet browser.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're actually doing something other people have done, but because currently the so-called quote unquote big player is Chrome, so now they're doing the guys actually compete with Chrome, which is actually interesting. But they just but also they also do something like what they did for in the early days of internet by having Microsoft Online, where they have the browser to connect to MSN and all that. So yeah. So consumer tech not as interesting. I'm sorry, I have opinion on that. So the next one is zero trust. It's a feature that previously exists on their commercial plan, I believe. Now, the free plan actually will have this feature now. This is the cloud flare zero trust.
And beyond the headline is that now they open up the team management for free.
Mhm.
So previously it was a private account. If I like the DevKami.com, I'm actually sharing my private account to you guys. So it's like swimming, and Tristan actually got access to my all they can see all my silly
Yeah,
domains. Yeah.
Yeah.
you can see all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
No,
So now
but
you have a
that's
team.
why. Yeah, that's why it's easier to have like this kind of access control. So at
Correct.
least you don't have to get everyone if you want like a co-manager
So
of something.
yeah, we definitely will switch over because we can use this. I don't think we will see anything from us, but maybe we'll give a review after we do our migration over lah. So the next one is something I'm really interested. The BBC Microbit is actually a microcontroller board. Design actually it's called nowadays it's called System on a Chip (SoC). It's designed for children to learn programming. The default environment, there are two default environment where last checked, the Scratch type environment and the
Does it run
microcontroller
JavaScript?
environment. And here's the fun part. Yes,
They yes.
Espruino have already ported to microbit.
Mhm.
I do not know if it's recent or it's something that happened for a
It's
while.
they had so the founder so the creator of Esprino already had the microbit V2 when it was
Yep.
under development, but he couldn't talk about it because he was under NDA. And so when I posted on the forum, as soon as that UK BBC microbit has already posted it, but UK is still not 13, right? Because they're on a
Yep.
different time zone. But they
Yep.
posted it ahead of that. And so he actually posted it like just after I asked him about the microbit, because technically, since even though it's not yet the 13th, but then because microbit has already announced it, then he can already merge in his port and then announce it as well. So he was one of the very first firmware makers to have support for the new microbit V2.
Yep. So now you have two main programming language, Python and JavaScript, a form of JavaScript
There's
anyway.
there's Microsoft MakeCode. So MakeCode
Yeah,
is like a
and
block programming.
correct, a Scratch-like programming language. So you have three language on the microbit environment. But what's new for this is they use a new chipset, which is a lot more powerful. It's not on
Yeah.
this announcement, but it's finally have microphone and speaker.
Mhm.
Right, so previously you don't have that. Previously it's two button, wireless, a Bluetooth wireless protocol. Then the GPIO you see here and the LED, right?
It's still there,
don't,
but they added more.
they
It's
added
still the
more
same,
stuff.
but they added more stuff.
Correct. You get capacitive touch sensor, microphone and speaker, and more importantly, this actually in the announcement. Is this in the announcement? This is not in the announcement. Let me pull up the better announcement. Oh no, you see all my stuff. Give
This
me a
is
moment.
this is the marketing announcement, I would say. And then
Correct,
for the
correct.
people who are interested in the technical
Yep,
details,
here you are.
then there's this announcement.
Yep, this is the one. Okay, I take a bit more time on this because this is my thing, so I'm in charge.
How much they are selling this?
Same price. They're keeping it at
I
the
don't
same
remember.
price.
Let me go to my favorite place. Section should pay us.
No, they're selling it for 74, 75 ringgit. So it's the same
Yep.
price as when the microbit was first announced.
Yep, mainboard.
So it's not, yeah, I don't know if it's there.
Yep,
No, this is the old, although the V2 is there, 73.
yep,
That's the old one. The new one is on the right.
correct. So, interesting. The Julia kit is 69. Okay.
It's just
I
cheaper.
find out later. Yeah. And they have a bundle for 90 ringgit. I know them, buy from them. I will make sure that
Yeah.
I make sure they know this and give us
Yeah.
demo. Okay, serious note. Final one. This one is also interesting because this thing can run TensorFlow like, meaning you can run out through Edge Impulse. Is a company that specializes on system on a chip, deep learning radar system on a chip. But this one is interesting because this particular device can run TensorFlow like, so you can use this for learning. You damn kids.
Or if it can be used for data gathering as well as
Yeah. That's the
actually
point.
like guessing based on the compiled TensorFlow expressions.
Correct.
So both Esprino and Edge Impulse has support now.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Correct.
everyone will port it because it's quite a powerful chip. So the
Yes.
one that we were talking about before, NRF52840, is double. That's like the new the what do you call this? The top of the line chip for the NRF52 series. This is like just half of the memory and the flash, but it's the same processes, like the same chip. So it's basically just half of the thing. It's not an old generation, but it's like this is a new generation chip. And this one has actually Bluetooth 5.2 directional Bluetooth. I forgot the exact name, which is not it's not possible in any of the other chips for the NRF52 series. This is the only one that has it so far, which means you can actually get like a direction on your from a Bluetooth signal based on the how it was encoded. So the radio has full support about this thing. So this is actually very, very good, and it's a very nice bang for the buck for an educational board. I
Yes.
would recommend that you get one.
Yes, and you damn kids can do so much things unlike me those days. Okay.
Yeah.
Kids.
Unlike we who grew up with ZX80 Spectrums and
Yeah.
Commodore 64s.
I don't know. I just pop up yesterday.
I only know how to lick my finger. Okay, so look at this. This is actually a whole set of serverless horror story. The link is on
Expected.
DevKami.
I
You
think
can
the
go to
similar,
it.
the expensive mistake is the something that happens to everybody that use especially platform as a service or software, especially platform as a service. They can get really expensive when they scale. So
Read all the lesson learned from all the links in this page. It's some because there's a lot of people that got burned by serverless. I hope that with this you can learn something and actually hopefully you won't waste as much money lah. I think this is the last one. I have one more here, but I'm going to skip this one. The next one is more interesting.
we got a similar story. Is that a reminder is that Desmond, remember Desmond Law? Used to talk about the Google App Engine in the first mini PyCon we had.
Yes.
So he shared something similar as well. So maybe one day we can get him up here to talk about that again.
He still do this as well. All right. Final one. IBM will split up. So I don't know how they split up, but they will split into a company. One company will split up with a focus on IT infrastructure. The other one will focus on cloud. So this will be interesting because this is a 100-year-old company, and how many 100-year-old company there is. And also, I do not know how they split up because IBM is very big. There is at least the hardware part. This is the one that actually make their own processor.
No, they actually let go of all the hardware parts years ago.
Yeah. Then there's also the cloud part. Correct. So I do not know how this works.
The one important news is that for people that actually miss out, like in case you, for the past 5 years you've been just staying in the cave, is that they are now the owner of Red Hat.
Red Hat, yes.
Yeah.
You know what would be funny?
I didn't know that.
Okay, so you're the caveman.
I'm the caveman, yeah.
So what would be funny is that the new company is called Red Hat. Ignore me, I'm insane. But I think that's about it for Bus Corner lah. So I'm done. So let's start with introducing a few things. Here's why we bring in Andy, because we had a blog page, and here's the reason why we had a blog page.
Finally, we've been talking about this for 2 years, and we finally got like the impetus to actually do a blog page.
Correct.
Yeah, one Facebook post later,
you,
and then we've got a blog, right?
Blame you.
Yeah. So you're the blogger.
That's how fast it is.
So when we refer to the blogger, it's Andy now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse.
That being said, we also have been contributing to our blog as well. Not everyone. I write one article. Tristan write one article. So
except me. So I'm feeling pressured too.
Yes, I may add something soon. But
Chil Yong, you should write about your load balancer in Go. I think that would be an interesting topic.
Again.
For if in case of people that didn't know, including Andy, is that is the topic that I showcase in every single Golang Meetup. So it's a sort of a butt joke of like so it's so easy to write a load balancer in Go. So I did it every time. So
but that's smart. That means every time you've been asked to write a blog, you already have the material, right? Unlike me, I said I'll write and I got nothing. The next thing I know, I have to go on a podcast.
Yeah.
But that being said,
that's a founder's life for you.
So let's introduce yourself. So how should we call you? What do you do and all that?
I'm gonna focus you.
Oh yeah. Nice. So my name is Andy. I basically work as I'm a co-founder of a offshoring software consulting company called Decade 3. It's actually based in the UK, where I was for quite a while. I only moved back last year to Malaysia. So yeah, I'm actually still getting used to living here again. Like I grew up here until I was about 19 years old, and then I left to study overseas, and then I kind of stayed there to work. So yeah, actually, like it's good to be able to speak to people who have similar interests as me. Even though I wasn't a tech guy initially, you know, that's kind of what this topic is about, right? It's going from journey from non-tech to tech. But I like it because here there's a lot of people who are interested in, you know, tech stuff. The communities, it's quite a lot in Kuala Lumpur. It's quite a lot around the area, so it's quite good. Obviously, you know, like MCO and stuff, like being able to talk to people is, you know, a big thing, right? Because a lot of people are stuck at home and things like that. So it's it's very nice to meet you guys, and yeah, very happy to be here and, you know, talk on this podcast.
Cool.
We're
So
glad to see you too.
where do you actually from what you transition to doing technology?
So it's quite okay. So where should I start actually with this? So when I graduated, which was in 2011, I think actually there was a financial crisis globally. So it was actually quite tough to get a job. So my first job was actually as a casual worker in a supermarket, like an organic supermarket. So yeah, that was not tech at all. Obviously, I'm packing seeds, washing the floor and stuff like that. So yeah, that was actually my first professional job. So that wasn't tech. And then I actually got an offer to a betting company in the UK. And I went in initially as a trader, which is basically glorified data entry, right? So that is kind of a little bit tech. But what you're really doing is putting stuff into Microsoft Excel, which the model is already built for you. You're just like taking inputs, you put it inside, you run the model comes up with everything you need, you upload it to the site, and then that's your job basically. So that's like half tech. But about 3 or 4 years of, actually maybe less than that, maybe 3 years. 3 years after I started, they started wanting to automate some of the processes. So that's how all these things start, right? They ask you like, can you do some automation? So I actually became a VBA developer, if you can believe it or not, for about 18 months. So that was actually my first foray into tech, to answer that question. I don't know how you guys actually started out. Have you all been involved in tech since the start of your career?
No, not really.
I'm the rare one that put this way.
You didn't watch the previous episode, haven't you?
No, I was going to watch.
we talked
I was going to
about,
watch after this episode, but yeah.
Mine is
So-
actually similar.
or we talked about like restaurants and street kids and those things. So
Yeah,
So I'm the
I was
rare
an
one that
OB and
I was a
actually
primary school teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
and swimming was the one who had the education, I think.
yes, education and straight into the industry. So
So
career
as
is
a
the
poster among all of us with the waterfall.
So which is why I can give experience because I jumped straight to the industry and all that. So yeah, not really. So why come back here though?
Oh,
Come
okay.
back from
Yeah, just to cut a long story short, it was mainly family reasons, not so much career reasons. Like if it was career, I think if I wanted to continue doing tech and stuff, there were some opportunities there. But there's also like a lot of opportunities here, right? I mean, it depends how and what you want to do. It's like apples and oranges, except my family is in the orange basket.
right. That actually happens quite often among the tech people down here. Quite a few are actually able to actually work overseas, but come back because of family reason. So yeah, I mean we're the rare one, but I know quite a few that is there now. I also know quite a few that actually moved out to Australia and all that. So yeah. So what's the difference you see from your view actually? Because yeah, so what's the difference?
So the difference, yeah, in terms of I guess are you talking about general differences, or maybe you're talking about like the tech difference? Oh, it's just general.
Let's start from general, then we can go slowly to the technology industry side.
Okay. So general, I think to be honest, my working experience since coming back has been quite limited before I started my own company. So I was working in a company and then I left to do my own thing. So I can only comment on how I've seen it in my time there. And I worked a bit actually here while I was a student, which is a long time ago. So what I found, and you guys are obviously free to, you know, you can say I'm wrong or anything, but what I find is, I think overseas there's a big distinct between private life and working life. So if you're working from 9 to 6, you are only working. And sometimes in some cultures, they don't even have they have a very short lunch break, and that's their only break for the day. But once you're past 6, no one bothers you. Everyone understands that that's your private life, and you can do whatever you want. So you're free to, I don't know, go and play football. You're free to watch football. You're free to build your own app. You're free to get super drunk, do whatever you want, right? But I think here there's less of a distinct between public and working life and private life. I think because people take breaks here sometimes during their working day. So for instance, like you can have a coffee break at 11, maybe you have a coffee break at 3, but you have to make up that time also, right? So that
we're not
that
allowed to take breaks here. I probably have been doing my.
Yeah, you're guilty.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no. I mean, genuinely, I'm just giving an example. Maybe not breaks, but
Okay.
yeah, I just think that the working day kind of extends a bit longer here. So in that sense, people have less of their own private life in the week, I would say. I mean, people still have their weekends, right? So I think maybe it's a bit more difficult here to maybe build a side project. I found anyway when I was in my previous company. I'm not sure what you guys think. Actually, I could be talking nonsense.
No, it's actually you're actually true.
It depends on cases, lah.
Correct. Some places you had longer break.
I think
Some not. Some it's very flexible in a way that you don't actually have break, but you do leave by 5 or so. So, and also in practice in Malaysia, it's generally harder to do a side software gig. It's actually harder for not just for that. Even if you're lucky, you leave by 4, you still which is generally fine, but you still depend on places, right? But if you're going to go from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, then good luck about reaching home, because you will very likely to stuck in the jam for 1 hour.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's
one
one of
of
the problem as well.
Yeah.
Is
So
that,
by the time you reach home-
Andy, is that actually one of the reasons as well? Like, what's the traffic situation there? Because I think you have trains and cabs and all
Yes,
those things,
it's true. So in quite a lot of Europe, actually, the public transport takes people to work. So I mean, people rely on public transport a lot. So like it actually, to be honest, the commute is probably just as long sometimes. It depends where you live. Some people live very far away from where they work.
Right.
Because
but
again,
you're not driving, right? But you're not in front of the wheel driving and stuck
Oh,
in
no,
traffic.
yeah.
So that means you can read a book, you can listen to podcasts, you can do something other than driving, which means you can I guess it's the free time that you were talking about. You actually have more free time, relaxed time, rather than shouting at the windshield because the other person is like,
I don't do
an
that.
ass.
I do that sometimes. Unfortunately, when you live in Malaysia, you have no choice. When you live in KL as well, actually.
Yeah. It's a luxury to be able to travel by public transport, because you get to spend all the time, even though it might be equivalent, even 1-to-1, like an hour driving or an hour doing like real commute, but at least you can do whatever you want during the commute time on the public transport.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Correct. But also, so I think in the way that my hypothesis is wrong, then so I think things get a bit
what's your
interesting
hypothesis in the first place?
My hypothesis is the commute time is the reason why we do not have that many side projects.
No, I think another issue is that the commute is just not back home. Then you have to commute, like sometimes depend on your social circle, or whether you have a certain thing you have to do. You have to commute outside again to, like, let's say, have a dinner. Then you are stuck on the way home. So after you, I mean, averagely, if you finish dinner, it'll be around 9 to 10 already.
Andy, is that your experience?
busy
Like the people, for example, when you're like you want to start like a side project, are the people generally within the vicinity? And so if you want to have dinner, just like go out in 5 minutes, you're there, or is it like here where you have to drive all the way to like somewhere in 30 minutes to Makan and then talk business afterwards?
You're completely right. Actually, generally the way that they set up the tech hubs and stuff overseas, well, certainly I was in Leeds, and the way they set the tech hub up was everything is in the city, so everyone commutes to the city, and if they are doing a side project or if they want to attend a talk at night, maybe a beer and code session, they have all these things. It's all in the city. It's all walkable. That's the thing as well. Like city centers overseas, they're quite walkable. I think one of the reasons here is people don't really walk is because the weather is really, really humid. So as soon as you walk like less than 1 kilometer, you start sweating already, right? Like who wants that,
So
right?
weaklings.
So,
Weak
yeah,
people.
weaklings.
That's it.
Exactly.
Also the vicious
Our
circle
downfall.
of because people are not using public transport, so the vicious circle because you don't use it, so they have no incentive to improve it, and it's a bad circle.
It's true, and I think that the problem as well in KL actually is the fact that we are set up more like an American city where everyone has a car. Everyone drives, like the whole economy is powered by the fact that everybody has a car, everybody drives,
and everything.
Someone has to buy all the oil that's being produced, right? So that's
Malaysian oil are exported for planes, which, by the way, now if you rely on flying so much, now you had a crisis that recently. So that's another story. I think that's on economic policy.
I think the difference is that in some cities they are more centralized, so you can easily meet other people. Like if I want to get to Tristan Place, I have to spend an hour going there.
Oh wow!
Not because of distance.
Tristan
is actually living.
Bangsar
is the center of all the mother of all jam.
Correct, and also and also being central is also the interesting observation for many as well. So Malaysia had MSC, which is another place. Let's not go there. But in practice,
but it's still very car centric. The problem with this is that still.
So, but the technology companies in Malaysia are in Bangsar. So interestingly,
are they? I thought they were in Cyberjaya. No.
Funny, isn't it? Even Microsoft are not there. But the servers are there. If they have servers, then the server will be at Cyberjaya, which makes sense. But technology companies are in Klang Valley, which I like to call the Valley because I'm insane.
I think the factor is that for me, the factor is the ease of finding other people.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the convenience to go home, like you can like stay a bit like until 9, then I'm still comfortable like getting back. I mean, commuting using the public transport. I have the confidence of that.
Is that how you found your co-founder, Andy?
Well, my co-founder was actually my ex-colleague from my previous company. He actually approached me, not the other way around. Like I would still be working for another company if he didn't approach me actually.
So you wanted a victim to share his
actually that's a very good analogy. Like I think that's what he wanted, and that's what he's getting, unfortunately.
So is this why you managed to set up a company in UK?
Pretty much, yeah. Because my co-founder he's been an IT contractor for so many years, and actually that was something I wanted to ask you guys about. Actually, do you guys have you guys got any experience contracting in Malaysia at all, or do you know how the contract market works here? Because
software contracting in Malaysia, it's okay. So there's two situations here, but very likely our circle. The contracting will be taking project from overseas, Europe, US, simply because the exchange rate back to here is better. And unfortunately, if you read like Developer Kaki, you will hear some story about contract, like the recent one where one of the contract want to have a clause for fee deduction.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw. I thought you asked for more upfront.
That exists. It's not as probably not as common. So you won't get, and also you look at developer key, you also see there's some people that go for local market, but you realize that the fee is relatively low. So we just got people in our circle because we are. I would say that at least in my circle, everybody is reasonably competent in a way that we can get some job from overseas.
My observation is similar.
Yeah. So as a result, the market would be very rarely. It's about local market. More likely.
I have a question. If the market is not local, then who is serving the local community?
I've been asking that since forever.
No, it's not. I can answer that.
DevKami is serving the local community.
It's getting better nowadays, but previously it was a lot of the local needs are smaller jobs. Either they are too small, like app development, or they just want a .com.
Yeah.
Or in the case, of custom development, then it's either too big that nobody is doing it like as a. It's via a contracting company, or a contractor. So, but they normally have their own stuff. So for some of us that were freelance a bit, we normally get our contracts from overseas because they are the middleman that willing to hire some unknown people in some unknown countries to do their work. They are more trusting back then. So here it's like here even like very little projects were outsourced to freelancers in terms of the bigger contractors. You have to be slightly more established. At least like sometimes they require you to come up with a company before they give you a project. But it gets better nowadays because the startup scene is getting more matured. So there are more contract work for startups. Those they are a bit more trusting. As long as you can deliver, they are okay to hire. But the traditional big projects, they are still limited within the software house, also because of risk management.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
So this is why company like Masiniaga, which is actually Masiniaga and High Tech Pradu, these are the big government contractor project down here because
the changes were so huge. Like back like just like a decade ago, the risk appetite for, let's say, a government project was so they don't have a risk appetite. So normally they just assign it to like big corps like IBM, HP.
Correct.
So normally this company, they don't hire outside contract workers.
So I used to
maybe even contract workers, you'll be like working full time with them. Basically, you are based in their office. You have a dress code to follow.
So
the foreign one feels more like a freelancing job.
Correct.
That's
so if a company that would want to outsource the project, they're usually big enough, the big ones, so they will actually, which is why you have companies like the consulting firm that will do for companies for certain size, which is why they exist to serve the local quote unquote big traditional player that is software. So which is why this company
it's not necessarily harder. It's not necessarily a more challenging job. It's that the risk is that, like, if like the saying is that if you buy IBM, you won't get fired because you can point your finger to a big corp. Like if let's say IBM cannot deliver, what can I do? Like the kind of rationale.
Correct. So, but which is why now the consulting firm had a bad reputation because they charge whoever that used to work for these companies, right? Not the consulting firm, but let's say Petronas and whatnot. They may look at the consulting firm and say, "That's all you develop. You can have a internal team or whatever, right?" So they had a bad reputation for this reason. So, which is why as people see more, you see more, but now,
the startups or the new companies or the new teams established, like even for some of these old companies like Petronas are getting much better because they are more approachable these days. They have to read up at least on the buzzwords. So it's good and bad is that they can just either they just circle around buzzwords, or at least they approach some of the community people. At least nowadays they are more approachable and visible from our end. So,
I'm
Tristan?
curious about the Decade Tree's clientele. Like, how about yours? Do you also see that it's like outsourcing? Like, more people outside of Malaysia are more willing to get your services because I guess this is a new company, right? So it's relatively unknown. It's not an
Yeah.
Accenture, for example, or McKinsey.
Oh,
So we're
no,
not
no
at
way.
that level yet. So, well, not yet anyway, but at least in the beginning. So you'll have like these people, like smaller startups outside of Malaysia, like taking your services. Is that the same experience that you've had?
Yeah, so basically, because we set up in the UK and stuff, most of the leads and most of the contacts that we have are all from my partner, and therefore, like all our business tends to come from overseas. And the rates we charge are also UK rates because, like basically, because my partner set it up as kind of like his business initially, so he was targeting certain clients, certain businesses. So you're completely right. It's the contracting market overseas. Definitely, I think they're more open to it. They're more open to possibly working with companies like us, who have day rates and stuff. I don't think I've seen in Malaysia where they sort of advertise, contract work for a day rate. It doesn't work like that here, right?
It's I think the deeply rooted culture is that which is often
Full-time
used
work.
to describe China. So it's a 关系
Okay.
relationship. Yeah.
What is Guanxi?
So-
Sorry, I'm
Relationship.
not familiar with the term. I know
No, it's
Chin-Chai,
a-
but not Guanxi.
It's you can. I'm gonna share the link.
It's literally
So-
means relationship.
Relationship.
The word literally means relationship.
Yeah, I'm gonna share in the chat,
Yeah,
in the comment sections.
but the more you work with someone, then the more you trust and all that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
So that's why
I need to.
there's
yeah.
the rumor that in order to get business in China, you have to like wine and dine the
Yep.
CEO.
I
and-
think that same goes with some of the big cops in Malaysia as well.
Mm. and play
Which is
golf
why
with them at least a
clubs
few
in
rounds and
Malaysia-
lose. And then
Of
you
course,
get your
some of us
Guanxi.
like my company, we actually did similar, not really day rate job, but we got subcontracted job from the main contractors. That so, but it's pretty hard for a small company to directly get in.
Mhm.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's again because like you said, the market is not big enough here. There's not enough demand for contractors.
there's enough
as you
demand,
said.
but the
Yes.
risk appetite.
Oh,
But their right to
Yeah.
trust. I mean, at least I don't know. The rationale is if the name need to be big enough, and also like if it's my friend, then I'll be more tolerating, even though the project fails. It's my words.
Yeah.
So it's more like a cover your ass thing, right? No, maybe not
Yes.
cover
Yeah.
your ass, but more like if the project fails, then I have a good reason to make an excuse.
No,
Like,
at
it's
least
a
it's
big
my friend.
company. Or it's my friend, or like it's a big company.
Yeah.
Then they would have done it. Like and the problem is it was an unknown, even though all of the financials check out, all of the like checks are okay. But then if they fail, then why did you choose this? They're unknown, even though you've done your due diligence, right? But then Andy, what are you like? What do you what like in the partnership that you have with your partners? Like, what do you contribute if you're saying that you can't find lots of business here in Malaysia, or are you trying to break into Malaysia in that case? That's why you're.
oh no. So basically, what we are trying to do actually is to get Malaysian devs, because again, the rates that we're able to get here will be much, like you said, quite a lot better than a lot of people. If you go on DevKami, for instance, like a lot of people talk about how the salary is really low and stuff. So actually, if you did contracting, for overseas company as a freelance, there's actually a lot. There's actually a lot of opportunities, just better rates as well to get. So that's kind of our plan, really, to be able to.
So you're
I don't
here
use
for
this word, but
talent
it's basically
acquisition.
undercutting like UK contractors so that like Malaysian devs can,
It's just economics, right?
yeah, basically offshoring.
Because
So you're here for talent acquisition. You want to acquire talent to feed into the machinery.
That's probably a good way of putting it. I mean, I'm not here tonight for that. I'm here tonight because you guys have invited me, and it's very nice very nice to be here. But yeah, no, obviously, yes. In the long run, I would like to have the relation. I would like to have the Guanxi with the freelancers and stuff, so that we can have the mutual trust and work together. That's what I'm looking for in the long term. Yes.
Not too long ago, the Malaysian freelancer was undercut by the developers from India. So just so you know, that actually
I don't think so, because I think it's a different market. If you fight for you fight for a WordPress job, you'll probably get undercutted. But if you do, if you
even the Java jobs, right? Probably undercut.
So it's a different niche, actually, different market,
right.
So there's no point getting to fight with them as well. It's not much of a value we can provide anyway. I mean, if you're gonna fight, we're gonna hurt ourselves anyway.
Yeah.
So
maybe Andy would have like a better perspective here. What do you think is the technological niche advantage of Malaysians versus, like, let's say Vietnam has a lot of Ruby on Rails developers, like India has those WordPress and Java. Like, we're stereotyping, but I guess you would have a better knowledge about that. Like Singapore would probably have like fintech stuff. So what would you say based on that?
The business is very new. I don't want to draw a conclusion from about 4 or 5 months of looking around. And as I said, I've been away for so long, so I don't really know the local market as well as I'd like to. Our competitive advantage, if you're asking me now, it's just the fact that we are cheaper. Like, I can't pinpoint an exact niche where we're better than other people yet, apart from the fact that our currency is not as strong. That's my personal opinion now. But I'm sure, if I looked around, I'll be able to give you a better answer to that. As you said, like, if you're going to India and you want to get a WordPress developer, I mean, they'll just kick your ass, right? What's the point of even competing? Right?
But if you're free to share,
they ask for is so low, yeah.
If you're free to share, what kinds of technologies are being like in demand from the companies that you're serving?
That's actually a good question, because I do want to elaborate a bit about this, but like how do you guys find the software market here in terms of like what the people offer? Because my experience of the software market, contracting a full-time overseas is very highly specialized. So you can afford to be like a Scala or Java developer and get by, you just be very good at Java, very good at Scala, and you will get gigs. Here, it's like, from what I found anyway, in my 4 or 5 months sort of like sourcing, it seems to me like you have to be a generalist to survive in Malaysia. I don't know what you guys think about that. Like, you need to be able to build the application, you need to be able to deploy it, you need to be able to do AWS, you need to be able to, because
that's generally it.
Yeah.
So because
you don't do that outside Malaysia, UK.
Generally, we expect everybody to know the whole thing here.
You'll be talked down by some people if you don't know how to deploy
I mean,
I guess I wouldn't say it. So just seriously on that note, I think the over specialization is not a good thing. It does help because you know where you are, like which one you're focusing on. But if you don't know how the application works from end to end, then it's quite like it will limit your growth there. And I would theorize as like the reason why you see more people like as a generalist. Well, I wouldn't say generalist, but more like a large skill set with a particular focus. Maybe we'll put it like that. Is because they're the ones who are actually like out there marketing themselves and trying to get the work.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're the ones who actually can get the work. So they're the ones who are visible. The ones who are specializing are stuck in a company complaining about their 2,000 ringgit jobs and not getting a raise. I think that's the reason.
I think actually Andy got the right crowd, because we are actually looking for more generalists as well. Because what I encounter is that normally the senior folks are know more things. Yeah. So
they basically just understand the whole thing.
Yeah. you basically met the right crowd.
Yeah, because
it's actually not easy to find as well.
yeah, but then I also used to work in a bank. So where the senior is generally so the senior that I work with is a operator for the ZOS system. That's a mainframe system by the IBM, and this is like so specialized, right? Then I would have one senior that is a manager level that is specialized on Unix.
One of the very fun. I'm not gonna mention the meetup. Is one of the meetup that we've been to. They have a person to push the button to deploy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's funny you say that, but yeah, my experience working in Leeds as well has been, in some cases, some of the applications are very, very manual. And I think that is also part of the reason why like a lot of the work is highly specialized, because it seems like they have a bigger economy in terms of, everything in general, right? There's more, they're buying and selling more things, the economy is larger. And what tends to happen is there's a lot of legacy code, a lot of legacy systems, a lot of legacy codes that they're still running in very companies that are doing very well, that have a lot of money. They're still using a lot of legacy systems. So they need the people to specialize and come in and do these things just so that they can get their business done every day, So
I wouldn't say that they need it specialized. I would say that you mentioned about the economy. It's large enough, like such that, for example, in the US, you would have people scolding you because it's illegal for you to sweep the floor because you're taking jobs away from that janitor.
Precisely. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's the same thing.
That actually raises a question, like, or is in the UK case is that companies are more willing to use services from each others.
From each other, you mean? As in,
share, like we're willing to like, let's say if I need this and if another company has this thing that I want, I'm more willing to use it.
I think so. I mean, don't quote me on that because
it's just personal opinion. Everything is opinion. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah. So no. I think that's probably true. I think UK especially, they have this attitude as if something has already been done and somebody else can do it cheaper, then just give it to them. They don't really care about IP, this kind of stuff. I mean, of course, yes, they have all the rules and regulations, but if they can get by paying less, they would.
I think any business would do that, right?
Yes, like for sure.
Apple would do that.
Yeah, it's a
standard. And they sell us like really expensive stuff. So it's just
which is why there's outsourcing. Yeah. Which is why outsourcing happens, right?
That's right. Exactly. That was my point. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the generalists, you generally only see in our circle because I've seen places where it's hyper specialized.
It's actually pretty rare. Actually, like.
Really?
Only within the Slack channel that all the journalists I know are in the Slack channel.
Yeah, precisely. You won't.
So you're you met the right crowd, Andy.
Correct.
Yeah.
But to be honest,
I mean, more generalists.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, I don't see any problem with being a specialist or generalist. At the end of the day, you have to learn what you have to learn to survive in the position that you're in, right? So if that means that you have to specialize in order to get by, then of course do it,
and if you actually.
Yeah, precisely. I see a lot of people, they argue always, I'm better being a generalist, specialist. Why are you doing that? I mean,
but then
I think nowadays
what are your clients looking for? Specialists or generalists? And what technology areas?
If you guys can do Scala, that would be really helpful. So no, the reason I said Scala was kind of because it's a highly specialized language. Like, who uses it apart from Twitter for their entire backend? But my point being that it's a specialized language.
Yeah, startups wanting to be like Twitter, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Copy that technology.
Yeah.
They are mostly mathematicians that like Java.
I'm a mathematician and I like Java, and I'm actually a Java dev. That's my training. That's how I transitioned from being a VBA developer. And my first serious language was Java.
Right.
Not to say VBA is
Java?
Sometimes I'm too generalist now. I do like a lot of stuff.
I think because you're in the financial sector, so it's very much Java or COBOL, right?
Java, Quavo C and stuff like that. But yeah, Java is again a very old kind of language that not very popular, has a very bad reputation. Oh, maybe not bad reputation, but it's not fancy, right? You know what I mean? People say Java.
I think I cannot really shit on Java because language that exists sufficiently long enough will have and also with there gonna be people that gonna have a bad experience with it. Like give it 5 more years for Python. Nowadays, like basically school teaches Python, and there gonna be people hating it.
Yes.
That's true. And Python is older than Java, as far as I know. Python is about 5 years older than Java, right? I think Java was
just 2 years, just few years, not very much. Same decade actually.
As in the mainstream, as in gut mainstream, it was just pretty recent.
So you mentioned Scala because that's what's vacant right now. But what about the other positions that you filled? Like which technologies and which areas are there?
So it's things like Python as well, things like Java, like JS, React kind of front ends. That's that's quite universal, right? Java backend, and then you got a React front end. Or if you don't have a Java backend, you just have a Node backend. So I sit here talking about being generalist and specialist, and at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing, right? Just one, backend develop one way, and
you want food in the. Okay, sorry, we're talking about. I thought everyone wants food on the table. Okay, a bit higher than that, I guess, on the Maslow hierarchy.
I need food and I need money to buy Gundam models. Right.
Good. Yeah, that's if that drives you, that's a good thing.
Yes.
At least you have a meaning.
Purpose.
Yeah.
So we have a few comments on there. You already mentioned Jason's stereotyping code. And Nicholas is talking about the T-shape. What is this T-shape thing?
You had a wide, you know
a lot of things, but also you have a specialized, you have a specialty as well.
But this is the old one, right? I think they talk about the paint drip model now.
Okay.
You know the paint drip when you paint across and then it drips down. So it's like a wide. You have a wide breadth, and then you have multiple specialities, and not just a T. I think that's what they're talking about.
That is I think T works as well. It's just people just get fixated of T. It's just one line, but you can actually have multiple ones. But
isn't it? Is it still a T without one line? I'm just kidding.
It's more like M or whatever. But once you got 3 lines, you got different thing now. But you get the idea. Generalized, we know a lot of stuff with some specialization. That's the point.
I think Jason is asking, is Golang getting more used?
I only know one guy.
No, actually, if you're on the internet, most likely the stuff they are using, at least I think, estimately 50% of the things that you use are on Golang.
Well, usage behind the scenes doesn't really tell a lot. Like the Linux kernel is being used behind the scenes, but not a lot of people are Linux developers, right?
That's the problem with Golang. Like even companies that do Golang, right, they don't normally talk about it.
Correct.
Until they face a bottleneck, like let's say they have a serious performance bottleneck, then they want somebody to talk about. Then we discover that's how we discover the local community. Like most of us went our own way.
Correct.
So Andy, do you have any open positions for Golang developers, or looking for it in the future?
It won't be my positions. It'll be if people approach us. So at the moment, I haven't been approached by anyone who uses Golang, but that's not to say that won't happen in the future, right? I mean, it's quite a popular language now.
Is it popular in the UK?
I don't.
At least when you were there.
When I was there, bear in mind, I only transitioned from VBA to Java, and
I think I have something to add. That right now, Golang is still pretty specific to infrastructure. Build infrastructure. So normally, people that build infra just like the older generation, not Python now, as in the machine learning one, but previously Python people were the sysadmin guys, so they built like the compilable bootstrappers, they built server tools. They normally are not vocal about it. So even though people use it, but it's just a tool.
Mhm.
So right until Golang get more matured, as in they get more like JavaScript and stuff.
Until they get a web development framework that is widely
Yeah.
used. I think that's
then
the
Yeah,
that's
when
the
Oracle and
marker,
Google merge.
right?
the current niche is still pretty much on utilities, and also infrastructure.
Yeah, the infra guys just do things.
Yeah,
And the
infra
infra
guys they don't
guys-
talk about it.
Yeah, and if they can
And
get
it's-
away with shell script, they will just do it.
And also, like most of the time, infra folks like the job scope is just infra.
Yeah,
They normally don't advertise like I'm looking for Golang. It's just because you need to do what is needed to make sure that things are working.
correct. So
Yeah,
it happens.
that's
at
the
the end of
That's
the
the
day, as a
situation
software
now, lah.
engineer,
Gradually, it will be more common. Like Python used to be the same niche as well,
correct.
but nowadays, it get more high level, and even schools start to teach them.
Yes. Man, why do
And-
they teach white space?
And people in Kopitiam actually talk about them.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah.
as well. Actually, I heard that not with him at a different place in my old job at.
Random people talk about
field,
learning
some
Python.
people are saying like, "Oh, use Python Pro."
Yes.
So yeah, it happens.
wow,
It was,
okay,
It's
yeah. I mean, Python for me, at that level is like a glorified Excel, because most of the stuff that you want to do at Python at the low base, you can really use Excel to do, right? I mean, for
Is that a
someone-
UK thing? Excel?
yeah, I mean, it
We
would
have to-
surprise
no,
you. I mean,
we-
I don't
we
even think it's
actually
just a
have the
UK
same-
thing.
We have the same mindset as well, but it's the problem is that if you're gonna build a system, you have problem making sure the non-so tech people, like sales people, know
right.
how to use it, like key in your
Exactly.
models and everything. But Excel is like it provides the interface. It's the best
Yes.
interface
That's
for
right.
the layman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you
I'm
want them
making
to
a joke, by the way, because of how UK lost the COVID-19 data
Yeah, no,
because
I
of
mean,
Excel.
I missed
but
that.
That's
that
why I'm
just
saying,
goes
is it a UK thing?
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that goes to show just how deeply ingrained it is to employees. Even in a serious tech company, to just use Excel straight away to solve the issue, right? I think
think a
Excel
lot of
gets a
big-
lot of they get a lot of
Yeah.
flack because it's like not not a robust environment to
It's not
develop in.
fancy.
The language is not very
I
good. I
think-
mean, no. To be fair, these are all true.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think the main thing is when you use Excel, it's all about knowing the limitation and when to transition to something that's more robust. And that's the end of the story, really. A lot of people don't do that, and then that's where they get in trouble.
Also,
So,
I have something to add in is that generally in the tech scene is that we like to shit on things that work.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So if it work is too boring to talk about.
Yes.
So like Sylvie say, we
Also,
have a collective collective ADD.
Yes.
in the
correct.
industry.
A good way of
Yeah,
putting it.
yeah, that's what I've been calling people, especially the JavaScript people, for a long while.
Yeah.
The whole community have a serious case of attention deficit disorder. It's not.
So it's not that it doesn't do its job. It's just it does its
Yeah.
job. So yeah, it's good enough lah. For me, it's I actually appreciate the how ease of use it is. Like even if you try to if you build a CRUD, you still need to teach them how to use it. Make sure they don't. Yeah.
So
And normally people, especially like the finance people, they are trained to think along the way of putting the data in a tabular form in Excel.
Yes, correct.
So it's natural to do.
So it's 11 now. So any other question you want to ask Andy before we move on?
No, how do we get to your website? How
Yeah,
do we
so how
find
do you
out
go to
more
your
about
website?
you?
Yeah.
Oh,
How if you're Scala, if there's a Scala developer looking for a job, then how do they reach you?
well, you can add me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I have a personal website, or you can go on my company website as well, actually. And contact us. Use the contact form. It's new. It's a new website. So yeah, please click on everything so you can mess up my analytics.
We will share the link on our website. So the blog, the current post is up, but we don't have a link to Andy's company yet. But
No, I'm sharing the link. It's a Decade 3, right?
Yes.
Decade 3 .co.uk, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna share
And
this link first at least.
You're looking for Malaysians only, right?
No. Well, I mean,
Mm.
anyone who fits the bill can do it. There's no,
Mm.
we have a no
It's a
discrimination
pun.
policy.
Fits the bill.
That's a good way of putting it, actually.
So, yep.
Yep. So go visit the website Decade 3. I don't think we have enough time, but maybe we can explore later or next time
Yes.
why
Yeah.
Decade 3 and all
We're
of
gonna-
these things.
Yeah, we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that said, I think we should start to say goodbye.
Yeah,
My first
good night.
goodbye phrase for a while.
Yeah, goodbye,
So,
please.
Bye. See you again
Bye,
next
guys.
week. Like, share, subscribe.